And when I heard Mr. Davies speak, I'm thinking, whoa. I'm hoping these kids, they're thinking, there's all kinds of parts to your life. And, making a living is a big part of it. And especially in the different future that you're going to have. When I was your age, it was kind of, you went through the steps, you went to high school, you'd probably do okay. College, that was a slam dunk. You're going to be successful. But what Friedman, the author of The Earth is Flat, found out or discovered from his research, mainly by going to India and China. All kinds of talk about India and China right now. And you go to a Walmart, made in China, made in China, made in China. The same thing with Home Depot. The manufacturing is there. So as soon as Mr. Davies said, I opened a manufacturing plant in China, I'm going, wow, here's a living, real example of the flexibility that you guys are going to have in this global economy. Back when I was your age, and Mr. Cordell is a cohort a little bit later, it was still pretty much, if you did manufacturing, if you put your time in with a company, you could pretty much count on that job. But what Mr. Davies has demonstrated is that you have to be cutting edge. You have to be ready to go here. As soon as that doesn't work anymore, you have to go to another place. Remember, just right off the top of my head, China for the wallpaper manufacturing plant that was probably based in England. He came from Chester. And then he starts talking about setting up companies in Indonesia. Off the top of your head, can you think of any other parts of the world that he mentioned?
I'm not quite sure because I haven't. I'm not quite related with him and his working.
And that's kind of, he keeps that part, well, you're not at that point in your life where you're thinking about that every day. But as sixth graders, just before you know it, in just a blink of an eye, you're going to be moving on to high school. And that's your last prep for that final training before you go on to your world of work. And again, the point I want to make about Jonathan's dad was that this is what that guy suggests. You have to be ready to work in different environments, to know other cultures, to know the histories of other people. And I think he even mentioned that, how important it is when you go to another environment to know their history and know their culture. I think that might have been another speaker, but he would know that intrinsically because he has to deal with other cultures, other workers, he has to know their customs. So for you to combine knowledge of other cultures, sociology, history with your training in those nuts and bolts things on making a living. If you're a business major, if you're an economics major, I have a couple nieces who majored in that. You need to have that type of training to be on the cutting edge, to realize that you need to make changes spontaneously and go to other markets, because whereas we just competed with ourselves, now with the advent of technology, computer science, the laptop, those billion people in China, the billion people in India are going to be the people you're going to be competing with for jobs, because like the book says, the earth now is flat. There's no valleys that make us a little isolated island where we can be successful and then the rest of the world gets a smaller piece of the pie. And then with other people becoming successful, there's going to be more and more people that are going to want a piece of that action. So that speech was real relevant in that regard. I know the economic thing isn't the most, at the top of your minds right now, but it just shows that all different speakers from different places, Mrs. Sepulveda from Mexico, Mr. Davies from England, it's all relevant, and it's really